Hi, my name is Hannah. Welcome back to my channel, Savage Reads. I have read some interesting books the last week that I want to talk about, as always. And of course, to start out, I have my embroidery update. Now, I am making a vocal anatomy diagram, and it's feeling a little chaotic. I'm not quite sure how it's going so far, but I figure just commit to it. Just keep going. Throw in more crazy colors and keep filling it in, and it will look less like a strange bird and more like a diagram at some point. So where I'm at so far is here. It really looks like a crazy bird right here, doesn't it? And so I'm just gonna keep working, putting in little sections, outlining things, and we'll see how it goes. So let's jump into the books that I've read this last week. This first book I want to talk about was recommended by the channel Towering TBR, so I will make sure to link that down below. And I picked up Strong Female Character by Fern Brady. Now, I do recommend this as the audiobook because the author is a comedian and reads it herself. And I think that is always great. If you can get an author who is known for their vocal work to read their own work, yeah, pick up the audiobook instead of the actual book. This book is following Fern's life as an autistic woman who was diagnosed later in life. And it has some really difficult stories in it, and some humorous anecdotes, and some things that I would rather not have known, but all of it was really well done. I feel like I really understood her as a person, and I found so much of it to be incredibly relatable, which honestly put me down some weird rabbit hole. I also went down the whole rabbit hole of watching all of her comedy clips that I could find on YouTube, and I found that to be very interesting to see the things that she's talking about and see how she participated in different programs like Taskmaster and how that is different from her stand-up material, and I thought that that was very interesting. I think you can for sure go into this book without knowing who Fern Brady is, but it will make you want to look her up after. I thought this book was really good for understanding how autism can be diagnosed differently in women and how a lot of times those common markers aren't showing up. And people think, well, oh, hey, you can make eye contact and you've had a boyfriend, so you can't be autistic, and that's not really true. And so I really enjoyed this as a memoir, and I think if you are trying to understand neurodivergence, this is definitely a good perspective to have. So we are just continuing on the fantastic books that I think everyone should read, and we've got An Immense World, How Animals' Senses Reveal the Hidden Realms Around Us by Ed Yong. Now, this book I first heard about from the channel Nyx Reads. So this book is talking about the animal kingdom and how so many senses are things that we overlook as humans, and how we experience the world is not how animals are experiencing the world. And so going through the different senses that animals have, and how a lot of times as humans we prioritize senses such as hearing and sight, that we neglect some of the other senses that we have the ability to develop. I was so surprised that humans can have echolocation, but a lot of times that is not taught, and it can be really helpful to someone who's blind. And so I thought that was just fascinating. Learning about the different ways that animals interact with the world just was eye-opening and makes you look at life in a different and exciting way. I loved this. If you like nature writing and if you like books that just open your eyes to the world around you, I think this one is really good. I think it had some very simple and easy to implement suggestions on how to be more environmentally friendly and how to help some of these animals and their habitats. This whole book was just a joy. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was supposed to be meditating in a yoga class, and we were supposed to be under the ocean and just calmly listening to whale sounds, and all I could think about was the whale facts that I got from this book. It just was fun. This next book I heard about from the Book Bully, and I almost did an entire dedicated review to this book because I am obsessed. This book is called Butter by Asako Yuzuki, and it is a Japanese novel that has been translated into English. And so I went into this book very blind. I had no idea what I was getting into. We have a woman who is imprisoned for killing some of her lovers and the reporter who is trying to seek the truth. Now, where this book may trip you up is the premise sounds like it's going to be mystery, suspense, thriller. It is not. This is a literary fiction, at least for me. I felt like it was a very literary fiction book. It caused me to think about a lot of things deeply. It moved a little slower. And the goal of it wasn't to resolve everything with a perfect bow and solve everything. Sure, there were moments, but the discussions about feminism and the discussions of expectations on women and loneliness and connection were so good and profound in this book. I found something so relatable about the discussion of expectations, the beauty standards that are in Japan and are everywhere, and how women are viewed. And I could really relate with some of that struggle between being selfish and going for things and taking everything that you can, and also being self-sacrificing and doing everything to serve your family and to do more, and how those war within you. And sometimes you need that time to be able to go for things. There was that entire aspect of this book. Excellent, really fun. I was really happy with that. But where this book got me was in its food writing. This book was an excellent book for food. I was obsessed with the descriptions. The woman who was accused of killing multiple men had a food blog, and her descriptions of food were so good. And she makes the journalist go out and try foods and really get involved. And it's all about tasting, like butter. Did I go out and buy a bunch of fancy butter? Yes. Did I eat soy sauce, rice, and butter? Yes. Oh my heavens, soy sauce rice with cold butter, and it's just melting. I thought the descriptions in this book were so good for food. Caitlin, at Bandy's Books, you love food. You would like this book. I think you should read it, because I was obsessed with these simple dishes that just the way they were described. Oh, it was amazing. The food writing and the power of food. I was obsessed. And I love how that tied in with body image and how really enjoying the food that you eat can make you happy with how your body is. And I don't know, I just was obsessed. I was eating so much butter this week. It's been lovely. It was so stinking good. The food writing just, every book should have food writing like this. Now, I did read some reviews that were saying that this book was a little boring or drawn out. And I think you might think that if you are expecting a fast-paced mystery thriller. But if you are looking for this commentary on body image and feminism and expectations and loneliness and connection and amazing food writing, I didn't want this book to end. I had such a good time, and I just want to go bake and eat slices of butter like they're cheese. Now, I read Deep Water by Patricia Highsmith, and this was where my week did take a bit of a nosedive because I don't know what to think about this. We have a man who is patiently putting up with his wife's various public infidelities, and one of his wife's ex-lovers dies in a mysterious circumstance, and he decides to just start telling her lovers that he's the one who killed him. It has a bit of a mystery thriller, but mostly it was about two people who were awful, doing awful things to each other. And I don't know if I love that, because none of it was surprising. All of it just felt inevitable and was just awful people making excuses for being awful. And I never got a moment where I felt like, okay, I really get why this is going the way it's going. It's just the people were bad. The people were not good. They were awful people, and they treated each other poorly, and they made awful decisions, and I didn't like it. So the description says, Highsmith examines the chilling reality behind the idyllic facade of American suburban life. I don't know whose suburban life you're looking at, but that is not a reflection of anything I've seen. And if it is, wow, I wouldn't want to be hanging around those people anyway. So 3 amazing 5-star books and one kind of The biggest plus that I can give this book is that it was compelling. I got through it really, really fast. But did I like it? No. I just wanted to get to the end and see what happened. And then I was like, oh, yep, okay. That about sounds right. And that is what I have read this last week. If you have thoughts on any of these books, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you have been reading. And I will be back soon with another book wrap up.